You think it's love. You call it love. Everyone around you calls it love. But what if I told you it's not? What if what you're feeling isn't love at all, but something far more dangerous? Stay with me. Because in the next 30 minutes, everything you thought you knew about love is about to change. Introduction. Let me ask you something. When they don't text back, do you panic? When they leave the room, does your chest tighten? When you imagine life without them, does it feel impossible? Like the air itself would disappear? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you might not be in love. You might be dependent. And here's the thing nobody tells you. Dependency feels exactly like love. It mimics love so perfectly that millions of people spend their entire lives confusing the two. They call it passion. They call it devotion. They call it, I can't live without you. But real love? Real love doesn't suffocate. Real love doesn't destroy. Real love doesn't make you forget who you are. My name is on this channel because I've been where you are. I've felt that crushing need, that desperate ache, that certainty that without this person, I would simply cease to exist. And I was wrong. In this video, I'm going to show you the 7 psychological signs that separate love from dependency. I'm going to share stories that will feel uncomfortably familiar. I'm going to quote experts who've studied this for decades. And by the end, you'll have a choice. Keep lying to yourself or start building something real. But I have to warn you, this video is a mirror. And mirrors don't lie. What you're about to see might hurt. It might make you angry. It might make you want to click away. Don't. Because on the other side of this discomfort is freedom and real love. The kind that doesn't destroy you. The kind that makes you more yourself, not less. So take a breath. Open your mind. And let's begin. Here's why this matters more than almost anything else in your life. Emotional dependency doesn't just ruin relationships. It ruins you. Think about it. When you're dependent on someone, you give them the keys to your entire emotional world. Your happiness. It's in their hands. Your peace? They control it. Your sense of worth? It rises and falls with every text, every glance, every word they speak. You become a hostage in your own life. And the cruelest part, you think this is what love is supposed to feel like. You think the intensity means it's real. You think the pain proves you care. But here's what's actually happening. You're slowly disappearing. Your hobbies, gone. Your friends, distant. Your dreams, forgotten. Because all of your energy, all of your focus, all of your identity has been poured into one person. And when, not if, but when, that person leaves, disappoints you, or simply has a bad day, you collapse. Because you've built your entire existence on someone else's foundation. The psychologist Erich Fromm said this perfectly. Immature love says, I love you because I need you. Mature love says, I need you because I love you. Read that again. In dependency, you love because you need. You're filling a void. You're medicating a pain. You're using another human being like a drug to avoid feeling your own emptiness. In real love, you need because you love. The need comes from appreciation, not desperation. From choice, not compulsion. And here's the brutal truth most people never face. If you can't be happy alone, you can't be happy together. Dependency creates toxic relationships. It creates jealousy, control, manipulation, and resentment. It turns love into a battleground where both people are fighting just to breathe. Studies show that people in codependent relationships have higher rates of anxiety, depression, and even physical illness. Because living in emotional captivity breaks you slowly, quietly, from the inside out. So if you've ever wondered why your relationships keep failing, why they feel so heavy, why you give everything and still feel empty, this is why. And today, we're going to change that. Let's get into the 7 signs. And I want you to be brutally honest with yourself as we go through these. Don't make excuses. Don't rationalize. Just observe. Because awareness is the first step to freedom. Sign number 1, you can't be alone. This is the foundation of all dependency. If the thought of spending a weekend alone fills you with dread, if you constantly need them with you, texting you, thinking about you, if silence feels like abandonment, you're not in love. You're in need. Let me tell you about Sarah. 28 years old. Successful career. Great friends. But every time her boyfriend traveled for work, she fell apart. She couldn't sleep. Couldn't eat. Couldn't focus. She'd call him 15 times a day. Send desperate texts. Panic if he didn't respond within minutes. She thought this meant she loved him deeply. But her therapist asked her one question that changed everything. Who were you before you met him? Sarah realized she didn't know, because she'd never spent time alone long enough to find out. Here's what's really happening when you can't be alone. You're running from yourself. From your fears, your insecurities, your unresolved wounds. And you're using another person as a shield. But real love doesn't require constant presence. Real love trusts. Real love gives space. Real love says, I'm whole on my own, and I choose to share that wholeness with you. The poet Rainer Maria Rilke wrote, "Love consists of this, 2 solitudes that protect and border and greet each other." 2 solitudes. Not 2 halves desperately clinging to make a whole. 2 complete people who choose to walk together. Can you be happy alone? Can you enjoy your own company? Can you go days without seeing them and still feel okay? If the answer is no, you're dependent. And the scariest part? Your partner can feel it. They can feel the weight of your need. They can sense that they're not chosen, they're required. And eventually that suffocates them too. So ask yourself, if they disappeared tomorrow, would you survive? Would you still know who you are? If you hesitated, we need to keep going. Sign number 2. Your happiness depends on them. Pay attention to this one. It's subtle, but it's deadly. If they're in a good mood, you're in a good mood. If they're distant, you're devastated. If they praise you, you're flying. If they criticize you, you're worthless. Your emotional state is completely controlled by theirs. This is called emotional enmeshment, and it's a hallmark of dependency. I knew a man named James, 42. Strong, intelligent, respected at work. But at home, he was a child. If his wife woke up grumpy, his entire day was ruined. If she complimented him, he felt like a king. If she forgot to kiss him goodbye, he spiraled into self-doubt. He gave her the power to define his reality. And here's what happened. She started to resent him. Not because she didn't love him, but because being responsible for someone else's happiness is exhausting. It's a burden no one should carry. Real love doesn't put that weight on someone. Real love says, I'm responsible for my own happiness and I choose to share it with you. The psychiatrist Carl Jung said, the meeting of 2 personalities is like the contact of 2 chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. Transformation, not absorption, not dissolution, not losing yourself. When you depend on someone for your happiness, you become addicted to them. Literally. Your brain releases dopamine when they give you attention, and you crave it like a drug. And like any addiction, you need more and more to feel the same high. So you start controlling, manipulating, demanding. Prove you love me. Show me you care. Don't talk to that person. Don't go out without me. And the relationship becomes a prison for both of you. Here's the test. Can you have a good day even if they're having a bad one? Can you maintain your peace even when they're stressed? Can you be happy for yourself, not because of them? If not, you're not in love. You're in addiction. And the only cure is to take back ownership of your emotional world. To stop outsourcing your happiness and start creating it from within. Because no one, no matter how much they love you, can complete you. Only you can do that. Sign number 3. You've lost yourself. This is where it gets really uncomfortable. Look at your life right now. Your interests. Your friendships. Your goals. Your identity. How much of it has disappeared since you met them? If you can't remember the last time you did something just for you, if your friends say they never see you anymore, if you've abandoned hobbies, dreams, passions, just to be more available to them, you've lost yourself. And here's the tragic irony. You did it for love. You thought sacrificing yourself proved your devotion. You thought becoming everything they needed would make them love you more. But it did the opposite. Because the person they fell in love with, the vibrant, interesting, independent person you were, is gone. Replaced by someone who orbits around them, who has no life outside of them, who defines themselves entirely through the relationship. I met a woman named Lisa who told me this story. She was a painter. Not professionally, but passionately. She'd spend hours in her studio, lost in color and creation. It was her therapy, her joy, her identity. Then she met Mark. And slowly the painting stopped. He never asked her to quit. But she wanted to spend every moment with him. She didn't want him to feel neglected. So she gave it up. 2 years later, she looked in the mirror and didn't recognize herself. She felt hollow, resentful, angry at him even though he'd never demanded she change. She'd erased herself for love that wasn't love at all. The author Bell Hooks wrote, "You can only love others to the extent that you love yourself. If you've abandoned yourself, you can't truly love. You can only need." Real love celebrates who you are. It encourages your growth. It wants you to be more yourself, not less. It says, go paint. Go see your friends. Go chase your dreams. I'll be here when you get back. Dependency says, stay with me, I need you. Don't leave. What if you forget about me? Look at your life. Who are you now? And who were you before? If the gap between those two people is massive, you're not in a relationship. You're in an identity crisis. And the only way out is to start reclaiming pieces of yourself. One hobby, one friendship, one dream at a time. Because you can't build a healthy love on the ruins of yourself. Sign number 4, fear controls you. Let's talk about fear. In healthy love, there's trust. There's security. There's peace. In dependency, there's terror. Terror that they'll leave. Terror that they'll find someone better. Terror that if you're not perfect, if you're not enough, if you show your real self, they'll disappear. So you walk on eggshells. You hide your needs. You avoid conflict. You say yes when you mean no. You smile when you're hurting. Because the fear of losing them is greater than the pain of losing yourself. I'll never forget Michael's story. He stayed in a relationship for 6 years, where he was constantly criticized, belittled, made to feel small. His partner would mock him in front of friends, dismiss his feelings, threaten to leave whenever he spoke up. And he stayed. Why? Because he was terrified of being alone. Terrified that no one else would ever love him. Terrified that his worth was tied to this one person who barely respected him. That's not love. That's captivity. The psychologist Brené Brown says, "We cultivate love when we allow our most vulnerable and powerful selves to be deeply seen and known. But when you're dependent, you can't be vulnerable. Because vulnerability feels like a death sentence. You can't show your flaws, your needs, your truth, because what if they use it against you? What if they leave? So you perform. You pretend. You become whoever you think they want you to be. And you call it love. But real love isn't afraid. Real love doesn't require you to be perfect. Real love sees your darkness and stays. Real love says, "I know who you are, all of you, and I'm still here." Dependency says, "Don't show them the real you, or they'll run." Ask yourself, are you yourself in this relationship? Or are you performing? Hiding? Pretending? Do you avoid certain topics because you're afraid of their reaction? Do you suppress your needs because you don't want to seem needy? Do you agree with things you don't believe in just to keep the peace? If yes, fear is running your relationship, not love. And a relationship built on fear will always crumble, because you can't maintain a performance forever. Eventually, the real you will emerge. And if they can't handle it, it was never real to begin with. So the question becomes, would you rather be loved for who you pretend to be, or risk everything to be loved for who you truly are? Dependency chooses the lie. Love chooses the truth. Sign number 5, you tolerate the intolerable. This is the sign that breaks my heart the most. Because this is where dependency doesn't just hurt you emotionally. It destroys your self-respect. When you're dependent, you tolerate things you should never tolerate. Disrespect, betrayal, abuse, neglect. And you justify it. They're just stressed. They didn't mean it. Everyone makes mistakes. At least they came back. At least they came back. Do you hear yourself? You're grateful for the bare minimum. You're celebrating crumbs while starving for a feast. I spoke with a woman named Rachel who caught her partner cheating 3 times, and every time she forgave him. Not because she believed he'd change, but because she couldn't imagine life without him. She'd rather be betrayed than be alone. That's dependency. That's what it does to you. It convinces you that any relationship is better than no relationship. That being mistreated is better than being single. But here's the truth nobody wants to hear. Being alone is infinitely better than being with someone who doesn't respect you. Maya Angelou said, "Never make someone a priority when all you are to them is an option." If you're tolerating behavior that violates your values, that hurts you repeatedly, that makes you feel small, you're not in love. You're in survival mode. You're so afraid of losing them that you're willing to lose yourself instead. And the most tragic part? They know it. They can sense that you'll accept anything. And consciously or unconsciously, they take advantage of it. Because we teach people how to treat us. And when we tolerate the intolerable, we teach them that we don't matter. Real love has boundaries. Real love says, "I care about you deeply, but I will not betray myself to keep you." Real love walks away when it needs to. because it knows that self-respect is not negotiable. So look at your relationship honestly. Are there things you're tolerating that you would never accept from a friend? Are there behaviors that, if you saw someone else experiencing them, you'd tell them to leave? If yes, it's time to be as kind to yourself as you would be to someone you love. Because you deserve more than survival. You deserve celebration. So here's the moment of truth. The revelation that changes everything. Ready? Love is not a feeling. Love is a choice. Read that again. Internalize it. The butterflies, the obsession, the constant thinking about them, the inability to function without them, that's not love. That's infatuation. That's chemistry. That's dependency. Love is what happens after the butterflies fade. Love is choosing someone even when it's hard. Love is respecting them enough to let them be themselves. Love is secure enough to give space. Love is strong enough to have boundaries. Dependency says, I need you to exist. Love says, I exist fully on my own, and I choose to share that existence with you. And here's the most powerful thing. Once you understand this, you can break free. You can look at your relationship with clear eyes and ask, is this love? Or is this need masquerading as love? And if it's need, you can start healing. Not by leaving necessarily, though sometimes that's the answer. But by doing the inner work. By building yourself back up. By learning to be whole on your own. Because the most attractive thing in the world isn't dependency. It's wholeness. People are drawn to those who are complete. Who have their own life. Who love from choice, not desperation. So if you want real love, start by loving yourself. Start by becoming someone you'd want to be with. And watch how everything changes. Conclusion, let's bring this home. You came here with a question. Is this love or dependency? And now you know. You have the 7 signs. You have the mirror. What you do with this knowledge is up to you. You can close this video and pretend you didn't hear it. You can rationalize and justify and convince yourself that your situation is different. Or you can be brave. You can look at the truth. You can start the work of reclaiming yourself. Because here's what I want you to know. You are worthy of real love. Not the suffocating, desperate, fear-based version you might be experiencing, but the free, joyful, empowering kind. The kind that makes you more yourself. The kind that celebrates your independence. The kind that trusts and respects and grows. That love exists. But it starts with you. It starts with learning to be alone without being lonely. It starts with taking responsibility for your own happiness. It starts with boundaries and self-respect. It starts with you saying, I deserve more than survival. I deserve to thrive. So take a breath. Look at your life. And make a choice. Because every day you stay in dependency is a day you're not building toward real love. And you don't have forever. If this video resonated with you, if it challenged you, if it opened your eyes, hit that like button. Because it tells YouTube to share this with people who need it. Leave a comment below. Tell me, have you ever confused dependency with love? What's your story? I read every single comment, and your story might help someone else feel less alone. And subscribe. Because this channel is about truth. About growth. About becoming the kind of person who can love and be loved in healthy, powerful ways. I post videos every week that will challenge you, inspire you, and help you build a life you're proud of. So click that subscribe button. Turn on notifications. And let's walk this journey together. Because you're not alone. And you're stronger than you think. I'll see you in the next video. Now go reclaim yourself. If you can't be happy alone, you can't be happy together. 2. Dependency says, I need you to exist. Love says, I exist fully and I choose you. 3. You're not in love, you're in need. 4. Stop celebrating crumbs while starving for a feast. Love is not a feeling, love is a choice. Being alone is infinitely better than being with someone who doesn't respect you. 7. You can't build healthy love on the ruins of yourself.